You unlock this door by being a total pussy. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of crying. A dimension of whining. A dimension of thin skins. You're moving into a land of no shadow or substance, of forced outrage and reaching. You just crossed over into the offended zone. Enter a generation known as the baby boomers. A generation with a self-proclaimed reputation of picking themselves up by their bootstraps, walking miles in the snow to school. A generation whose motto is, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." Little did they know that two little words would one day take them on a journey out of their comfort zone and into the offended zone.
Okay, boomer. You're not a
Don't
boomer.
me.
I'm not looking at you. You're not a boomer. We're not even, there's no boomers around us right now. It's the millennials' newest clapback directed at baby boomers who've become indifferent, some say, about the concerns of younger generations. So this all started on the social media app TikTok, and then it exploded into the meme of the moment. It even made it to New Zealand and to New Zealand's parliament, where a 25-year-old lawmaker responded, "Okay, boomer," after she was heckled by an older colleague during a debate on climate change. Take a listen.
In the year 2050, I will be 56 years old. Yet, right now, the average age of this 52nd Parliament is 49 years old. Okay, boomer.
There you go. So some have praised Chloe Aswarwick for firing back. Others have accused her of ageism.
Oh my God!
Hey everyone, have you heard of this OK Boomer craziness? Before we begin, did you see some of the smug-ass looking reactions from this white dude? He clearly did not take this brave woman seriously. So, kudos to me for not being late to the party for once with one of my topics. Although, might I say, you can still be late to the party and the life of it? OK Boomer is essentially a dismissive meme or hashtag, or however you want to use it, you know, in Parliament if you want, and it's essentially a snipe at baby boomers, dismissing their opinion. Let me tell you, this has caused quite a stir. So, this brings up a lot of questions and insights. For one, it definitely goes to show how quote-unquote civil wars are now fought digitally. For a super social justice warrior like myself, and yourself, I'd hope, it brings to light an even more important thought experiment. How does ageism play into other isms? We established in my dating video that isms equals prejudice plus power. So by that logic, when it comes to ageism, how do we reconcile this? Well, I believe that age equals power. So by getting offended by the OK Boomer trend here, these baby boomers are the ones being ageist, and they are just tacking that right on to the sexism and racism. There is definitely some irony here, with boomers calling millennials entitled, sensitive snowflakes, making fun of safe spaces and participation trophies, and then getting so offended by millennials firing back. This tweet, for instance, and kudos to this boomer being able to use Twitter. Maybe boomers are hip with technology, and us millennials are the dummies for not being able to use a rotary phone. States, boomer is the N-word of ageism. Being hip and flip does not make bigotry okay, nor is a derisive epithet acceptable because it is new.
I'll tell you this, I was writing for an awards show once and I got into some trouble. I wrote a joke for this awards show that had the word midget in it. And someone from the network came down to our offices and he said to me, "Hey, you can't put the word midget on TV." And I said, "I sure would like to." And he said, "No, midget is as bad as the N-word." First off, no. No, it's not. Do you know how I know it's not? I said to him, is because we're saying the word midget, and we're not even saying what the N-word is. If you're comparing the badness of two words, and you won't even say one of them, that's the worst word.
I am Gen X. The boomers spawned us. That's right. I am the product of boomers. And we have been telling them to jump up their own asses for way longer than you've even been alive. Welcome aboard.
Now, I didn't play this clip to rag on this guy. He seems cool enough. I just wanted to use it to highlight how there are actually some Generation X individuals who are offended that the boomers are offended by the millennials being offended. And I gotta say, that made me a little offended. How dare some generation try to claim social justice against another generation? Listen, Gen Xers, maybe you've been taking it to the boomers since before we were born, but millennials are the true social justice warriors. So, since we're in the offended zone today, let's ride the offense train! Okay, millennials, Myrna Blythe, Senior Vice President and Editorial Director of AARP Media, told Axios in an interview, but we're the people that actually have the money. Whoopi Goldberg has no time for the OK Boomer discourse. On Tuesday morning, The View's longtime moderator gave a passionate speech in defense of her generation, which she believes is being unfairly attacked by millennials and Generation Z teens. Goldberg insisted that baby boomers spent a lot of time trying to get this right, and she cited cleaning up Los Angeles as an example of her generation's commitment to paying it forward. People keep saying, "Oh, y'all are not woke," said Goldberg. "We never went to sleep." And then Abigail Disney has a message for fellow baby boomers offended by the OK Boomer trend. How about you guys sit the expletive down and let the kids drive? In a blunt Twitter thread, the 59-year-old Disney heiress criticized members of her generation for opposing young people's understandable resentment toward them and asked, "When did you get so easily triggered?" I'm going to break character for a minute here and get serious. I don't think it's necessarily fair to blame or attack any generation for another generation's problems, but I do believe that the baby boomers are radically out of touch with what life is like for millennials. You know, they made their money, they lived in a prosperous time. The thing is, the cost of living has gone up some 300% in the last 70 years, while the average salary has actually gone down about 25%. Not to mention things we have to pay for like internet, phones, things that didn't exist back in the day. I'm honestly not going to Google graphs and stats for this diatribe. You can look it up and dispute me if you want. But off the top of my head, you have this stereotypical view of a family in the 50s making $50,000, and they have a nice house, 2 cars, send their kids to college, retire. And what were cars back then? Like $4,000? Houses were 40? And now you have all these companies consumed by greed, and capitalism is collapsing because of it, and all they want to do is hire college grads for $30,000 to $32,000 and give nothing back to employees. And cars are now $40,000, houses are $250,000. I mean, come on. I think if you're a millennial, you feel this, and the whole work harder mentality is just a big old pile of horse manure. Honestly, there is such an insane amount of dialogue and outrage over this OK Boomer thing. I'm overwhelmed making this video. So let's just close it out with this one article, which I think encapsulates the reasoning for this OK Boomer outrage and goes to highlight the points in that little monologue I just made. Alright, so I'm just gonna not even script this part out and just do it. Why not script it, you ask? Oh, I don't know, because between commuting and going to my job, I was away from the house for 10 hours, and then I had to come home and make dinner and, you know, spend time with my family, and according to my wife, I didn't spend enough time, and now I'm doing a YouTube video, and it's been like 14 hours, so life of a millennial, hashtag millennial life, hashtag fuck me, dude. So, anyways... This article is, people are sharing the worst advice they've gotten from boomers over the years. What's the most out-of-touch advice that a boomer has ever given you? Use the hashtag boomer advice when you answer. Here are some responses. This may not be boomer advice, but a definite boomer moment. 69-year-old foster mom says, I got a room for $200 a month. 18-year-old me. Well, nowadays they ask triple the price plus first, last, and security deposit. Foster mom, I don't believe you. My very well-meaning dad, although this is many years ago, your monthly rent should never be more than a week's paycheck. Once you get a degree, you'll be set for life. If you show you're willing to work harder, they will show that they are willing to pay you more. That is bullshit. There's a reason that millennials jump from job to job, because that's the only way to jump pay nowadays. You have to gain skills and experience to put on your resume, go to another company for a $8,000 to $10,000 pay bump, and then bust your butt there for a year or two, and then jump to another company. These companies are just not loyal. Leading into our next point, go to college, get a good job, be loyal to the company, they'll be loyal to you. I know how you feel. When I finished college, I thought the loans would destroy me. I thought I would go to debtor's prison, but eventually I paid them off. Dad, your debt was $3,000. Well, that's all for today. And now, as we leave the offended zone, what did we learn? Probably nothing. Millennials, let's not be too mean to the baby boomers. And baby boomers, now that you've experienced the offended zone, maybe you can be a little bit more compassionate toward how hard millennials actually do work and struggle to get by, but not ahead, because the system is not anywhere near as kind to us. And Generation X, you know, you got the best of both worlds. Just stay out of it. Have a great day, everybody.